Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to episode 2 of the Just Sayin podcast. Same two people as last time, probably going to be that way going forward, it looks like for right now. No big deal. We're finally in season for every sport we cover, which is nice. It makes the talking points a little bit easier. We're hoping to keep this episode a little bit more brief. I believe in the start of last episode I said the same thing, and that didn't happen. So, goal for today, if we can keep it to 60 minutes, that's my goal. I'm literally watching the clock right now. So hopefully we can keep it to 60 minutes. If we can't, shit happens. All right, so we led off last week with the NFL. I guess we should lead off there again. It should be noted, we are terrible at picking times, and we picked a time in which every game except for one has not been decided yet. So we have nothing to talk about aside from Thursday night's game and maybe some other things that happened. So the Seattle-LA game, 30-29, looks like it should have been exciting. Was not.
You didn't think it was exciting at all? I thought it was a good game.
It was a good...
Tyler Lockett, possibly catch of the year.
Let me put it this way. That was probably catch of the year. I won't disagree with that. Let me put it this way: if you just looked at the scoreline, you'd think it was a shootout. It really wasn't. That was more of like a kind of a slugfest. There were some explosive moments, but it was honestly just a lot of really good play calls by both defense and offense. They just kind of kept it in the middle of the field. There weren't a lot of those long ball runs. You know what I mean?
I'll be honest. I didn't watch the game.
I watched the highlights because I was not. Hockey came back Thursday night, so I'll be honest.
I was watching the Preds game.
I was not watching the NFL last night. And also, if I had to pick an NFL game to watch, it would not be the Rams and the Seahawks.
Oh, really? Even with Russell Wilson? And
Russell Wilson's always a talent, don't get me wrong, but of every storyline this year, he's not the most exciting anymore.
I learned something else, too, during the week. Russell Wilson has a perfect QBR throwing to Tyler Lockett, and I'm very surprised by that. He's the only quarterback that's done that this year to a receiver in throwing 15 or more targets. I think he's done like 36 targets. He's got 30 catches, like 300 or 200 something yards. I was very shocked to find that out. A buddy of mine brought that up and was like, hey, Russell Wilson to Tyler Lockett, best QB to wide receiver combo in the league. I was like, I don't think so. And then I found that out and I was like, at least he's consistent. Because he did the same thing last year too. He had a perfect QBR when throwing to Lockett last year, and I was really surprised by that.
I was interested to see that a lot of people online were saying that the Seahawks get bailed out a lot by calls. Like, there were a couple times in that game where they kind of just, not that they stole the game, because I don't think that's the case, but where they did get the benefit a couple times, is what a lot of people were saying. Or that Pete Carroll's overrated. I saw that a lot, that Pete Carroll's overrated coach.
I don't think Pete Carroll's overrated. I think he just needs to run the ball more.
Yeah, especially after, was it a Super Bowl? Or was it
it was the Super Bowl against the Patriots, in which he had Marshawn Lynch on the
and they tried to go
1 yard line, and they tried to pass, and Malcolm Butler with the pick for the game, and then Martellus Bennett, I think it was Martellus Bennett, jumped off sides, and
can we talk about
or Michael Bennett maybe?
If you watch a lot of the play calls against the Patriots in the last 10 years, especially when they're in Super Bowls, it's not even like, I'm not saying the Patriots do not play amazing in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is a lot of their help, though, comes from teams panicking or being in the spin zone when it's not going their way, and that's a good case of that.
It was interesting.
Game on the line, and it's like he flipped a coin and was like, well, I guess we're going through the air.
Right.
Kind
of like last year with the whole Rams situation.
You had like the number one rushing player that's probably one of the best rushers of all time.
Marshawn Lynch is probably top 3 best postseason rushers ever. And you had a guy that was grounding and pounding the whole postseason, and you don't give him the football.
Yeah, I was going to say, literally, the Patriots. I mean, didn't Bill Belichick in his post-game interview even say he was amazed they didn't go through Lynch to get that last time?
I
know some of the Patriots players have said. Gronkowski said in an interview, it might have been with Barstool or something, where he said himself, he was like, we all thought the ball was going to be glued to Lynch, and that we weren't going to be able to stop him. And he said when he backed up and Lynch didn't move, we were all just like, wait, whoa. Like,
what is going on?
This is getting out of hand. All right, so current scores. Who's up that's interesting? Carolina's beating Jacksonville. That's not really. Cincinnati is down to Arizona. Doesn't shock me. New Orleans and Tampa Bay are tied. Where are you guys at? Are you guys playing yet today?
No, we got a bye.
Oh, you're in the bye this week?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're starting to get up into the numbers where the bye week happens. Pro tip to you fantasy footballers out there, check your lineups.
Just got an update. Daniel Carlson, kicker for the Raiders, just made a 79-yard field goal. Turns out it was a glitch. But that would be fun to think about.
That'd be crazy.
79 yards.
Well, did you see... Okay, so there's a video by, I think, SB Nation, where they talk about a kicker who had, he was missing his toes on his right foot.
Oh, yeah, Joe Dempsey.
So he wore a special...
Or Jack Dempsey.
He wore a special boot that was flat-fronted. They outlawed that.
Yes.
They said he had to wear an actual shoe because they said it gave him an unfair advantage. And Well, it may have. It's weird to see but it's weird to see somebody. No, what's weird is to see.
I said Jack Dempsey. That's the boxer.
I was about to say definitely not. But you know what I mean? Like, it's weird to see him, like, you're telling a handicapped person, oh, by the way, too good.
Yeah.
Like, that was wild. Like, because it's not like he couldn't wear a full shoe. What was he supposed to do? Like, you know what I mean? Nobody made half-length cleats. All right, so other NFL storylines.
Tom Dempsey.
I might I'm
stupid. I'm sorry.
Dempsey. I might actually be back in the win column in fantasy. We definitely went 2 dark weeks there. But
yeah.
Dude, no fault of our own, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, no, we
got outplayed. Bad luck of the draw. That was bad luck of the draw.
Yeah, it happens like that.
Like
if you have a perfect season in fantasy, you're paying a lot of people off for them to start their worst roster.
Keenum's friggin' drop rate over the week.
Case Keenum's?
Yeah.
No.
This week. On Yahoo Sports, it was like a 60% drop rate. People were pissed about what happened last week. And I'm not saying like he wasn't going to recover, but it's a bad first impression when that's your first outing.
No, I know, right?
Like, that was a terrible first
Well, no, that wasn't it. That wasn't his first outing. It was just a matter of...
but the hype was there because like the vibe he gave off was like, I'm ready to do this. You know what I mean? I'm ready to step up. No, you weren't.
Well, he's been the starter all year, though.
It was just not good.
No, it was definitely not a good start. Well, I think he went like 6 of 11 for 37 yards and a pick.
I think I dropped him. I think I texted you that and I was like, I think I'm gonna drop Keenum. And you were like,
I was like, yeah, I mean, because I think he
Minshew just passed to Clark Jr. for a touchdown. Good QB pickup, boys. Were you surprised I actually was smart enough to figure out that Minshew was assignable? That I should sign Minshew?
I mean,
the mustache alone was signable. Let's be honest here. Like
it wasn't very.
The man, the myth, the legend.
God, he needs to get rid of that mustache.
Yeah, we dropped Keenum. He's gone. We still have Trubisky, but he's out. Like
yeah, he's out.
They confirmed him out like Monday morning. They were like, no, not gonna happen. So, but yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna give a current scores update because it's not Sports Center, and by the time you watch this,
games will be decided.
Matter. We could make. How about this? Some games have not been played yet.
Well, we could make a prediction for the Monday night game since that's the game that's probably since that's.
So 4 games. Yeah, Monday night's a good prediction. So Monday night is Cleveland at San Francisco.
Yeah.
San Francisco is 3-0. Cleveland is 2-2 at 500. Who you got?
I have Cleveland. I've got Cleveland 28-17.
I'm not going to go that far.
You're not going to go that far?
I'm not going to pick score. I'll put it that
way. See,
I'll
pick score. I think after this past week, the Browns really established a good running game with Nick Chubb, and I fully think that they are going to lay on him immensely this game. And then if the running game doesn't work, you've got Big Dick Baker Mayfield coming out of the backfield, or being the QB, and he will absolutely pick that defense apart, in my opinion.
He's also strong enough to run the ball himself.
If he's got to.
I'm not saying it's his go-to. Because that's the thing with that I like about like a Dak Prescott is he's built as big as the rest of his team.
Right.
So if he has to run the ball, he's actually hard to stop. And he's not going to just go down to go down. He'll actually fight you to get the carry across. Which I think he's going to rebound this week too. They haven't played yet. They're going up against Green Bay, but I think they're going to rebound and win that game. I think so. I think last week was, in the modern game, especially with teams, I think the skill level in the league is starting to even out a little bit. I think what you have is...
Unless you're on the Dolphins.
But I think you can just have weeks where the other team just does the right things. And I think it just goes out.
No, you can absolutely be outplayed every
time. So, I mean...
I think it is.
But I think with Dak Prescott's skill level, I would still put the Cowboys as favorites to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think that's a wrong choice with how they've been playing.
Right now, my Super Bowl pick at the moment is the Patriots and the Cowboys.
That would make sense to me.
I think the Chiefs get to the AFC Championship game, just
pick.
like last year.
I'm going to go against you just for the sake of the fact that there's 2 of us on the show, and I'm going to say San Francisco. I'm not going to pick a score, but I think San Francisco carries that game out. I think they play it solid. They're at home too, so I think they can hold that advantage. That's a tough building to play in, from what I've read online. Is San Francisco's home, and I'm not the guy that always thinks that factors in, but I think it factors in a little bit. I think it's the same as like Gillette Stadium for the Patriots. It's like you know where you are. You know what this place is.
You are in Foxborough.
You are in Foxborough. You know what you're doing. All right, so yeah, we'll call it there on the NFL.
Sounds good.
But yeah, I don't think that's a wrong call at all. I think both teams could win it, and I think Cleveland is definitely. I think people misunderstand Cleveland because I think Baker Mayfield definitely kind of exploded out of the gate last year, and I think that was cool. But I think people don't understand that it's part of a larger curve they're riding that's a much more gradual curve. He's one part of that puzzle, but I do think they're kind of starting to turn the corner to be back to not being a terrible team. And also, I mean, picking up Odell Beckham Jr., which was amazing for them, is great because last year you have to look at what Baker Mayfield did when he had not great targets to throw at. Where now he actually has a decent target to
I mean, he still had Jarvis Landry, but Landry last year, I don't think he put up decent numbers.
Well, I think Landry was caught in that weird crux between, I don't remember who their last QB was before.
It was Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor.
And then Tyrod Taylor went out week 2, I think it was, with a concussion.
And Baker Mayfield won that next game.
Yeah, and Baker Mayfield came in and got the Browns the first win in, I think, 623 days.
That number sounds right.
Poor Browns. I feel bad for the Browns at times.
So we're on to
the NHL.
And the NHL season has finally started. Thank God. For week 1 has been pretty wild. My team sucked.
Speaking of the Wild, lost to the Preds first game in. Nice segue. I like it.
The Devils have not had a good start.
No, not at all.
And you know what, though? You know, obviously you go on Twitter right after a game like that, everybody's like, well, when are we going to start firing people?
Right.
It's like, I don't think that's the answer here.
2 games in is not the time to fire somebody. Unless it's the NFL.
And then you can just jump to start and fire them. Fire them in camp for all I care, dude. But I mean, like, I guess what really got to me about the game was, and John Hines and Kyle Palmieri both said it after the Buffalo game, because the Winnipeg game was one thing. Winnipeg's a good team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we got up to a 4-0 lead in the first, 16 minutes. Or the first, 22 minutes, I'll say. 4-0. And I'm sitting there like, well, damn.
We're looking pretty good, boys.
We were fast. We were together. We were shooting the puck really well. We were taking second chances. And then from pretty much 12-16 in the second period on, we weren't there. Now, overtime, we came back and we were there. And then the shootout. Losses in the shootout suck because it's a crapshoot. It really is. It's not a realistic sense of skill, in my opinion, but it's what it is. It's how the league sets those things. So it's what we do. But if you look at the whole outcomes of those games, those 2 games, the Buffalo game was worse. I watched all of that last night. I just wanted to puke.
Yeah, that was awful, man.
We got outshot 31-20, which doesn't sound nearly as bad as the score was. Mackenzie Blackwood wasn't great in net, but he got hung out to dry a lot because we just could not get out of our own zone. If they penned us in, at one point I counted because I was just curious. At one point in one possession in our zone, they made 3 full line changes. That means we literally never got the puck off them, and they managed to make 3 full line rotations in that passing. That's how not in control of the game we were. And after the game, Kyle Palmieri, who is...
For those of you that don't know, that is very...
not good.
Yeah.
It would be the equivalent... Okay, so let me put it this way. Imagine in football... I think I can make this comparison and you'll understand it. Imagine in football you get taken all the way down to 4th down and the other team has possession. And you never have possession again for the next 4 minutes. Like through the entire, not just like the next 4 downs. How about this? The next 8 downs, you never have possession because when you get it back first down, you immediately throw a pick.
That's a fair. I would consent to
every time
assessment.
you get possession, you just throw a pick to the other team and give it back to them. That's pretty much what that was. And in the grand scheme of the whole thing, Kyle Palmieri's quote after the game, which I believe he said something like, you know, we got embarrassed on home ice last night, and then we drove all the way up here to get embarrassed on somebody else's ice. And I was like, that's accurate.
Because y'all played Buffalo, right? The Sabres?
Yeah. We played back to back.
It just seemed like y'all.
John Hines said we were trying to play, and I know Zagurizm as a coach was a soft game that will get you nowhere in the National Hockey League, and I would agree we've gotten nowhere so far. We have 1 point in 2 games. It's only 2 games out of 82, so I'm not like
you're not too worried.
I don't think it's a 5-alarm fire. I think it's just what I didn't like after the first game. During the first game was we were winning 4-0, and I need to go back and watch like some highlights and read some stats. But all of a sudden, after we had a 4-0 lead, the lines started shifting. We started changing lineups, and I was hella confused why. We'd gotten a 4-0 lead off of those first lines, and all of a sudden, he started rotating the lineup. And maybe it was because, again, we weren't great on puck duels. So, like, one guy on a line would win a puck duel, but his line mates couldn't. So I think he was trying to mix and match them to get them all to line up.
I feel like that's the wrong decision to make, though.
At that point, I think it was the wrong decision to make. But it's still no excuse for what happened. To give
up
4
not at
goals
all. No,
in the next 16 minutes was pretty not great. And then to lose in the shootout like that. And then in Buffalo, he was rotating lines, which he needed to do because from out the gate, we were just terrible. The only line that never got rotated was Nico Hischier, Taylor Hall, and Kyle Palmieri, which I agree with. They've always played good together. But other than that, it was just from top down, it was just a terrible game. So other than that, big stories would be, first of all, though, and this is an interesting stat, Paul Maurice of the Winnipeg Jets brought this up after the game, and the game against us, which was the first week of the NHL season over the last 5 years, games have averaged 6 or more goals total in the game. Scoring is always up because defensively, no team is fully decided on what they're going to do.
Right.
What sucks for us is we didn't put up half of those. But, that just goes how it goes. Picture of Claude Giroux just came up on my dashboard. That was kind of funny. Side note, the Flyers had a terrible. I'm noticing that, too, in the NHL. If you have a great training camp, preseason game-wise, you're going to do terrible. If you have a bad training camp, for some reason you come out of the gate on fire. And the Flyers are like that. The Flyers lost to a German team. Like a German ice hockey team beat the Philadelphia Flyers on their ice. And then the Flyers came back and won their season opener. So it's like, okay. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
And I guess the thing for me, we can still go for a lot longer on this. For me, what really gets me...
Is that a glitch? You just said Kyle Allen got sacked, fumbled, and then it was recovered to make it 2nd and 50.
That could happen. That could absolutely happen.
That's... Wow.
But that's like... How hard did you have to hit him for the fumble to roll that far?
Unless they just couldn't get it picked up. It was being kicked around down there.
Got no...
Updates, boys. I need updates.
The guy's got no rib cage anymore at that point. But yeah, the NHL season's just starting. I think there's a roster freeze right now. So there's no trades that can happen, I think. I don't know when the roster freeze ends. But the Devils, I know, don't play again until Wednesday at 7. We play Edmonton back at home. So hopefully we can win that game. I think we'll work it out. I think it's nice that we had those 2 games. And as Kyle Murray called it, a humbling weekend. And I think what'll be good about that is we have 4 days to practice and kind of work things out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jack Hughes, first overall draft pick, did not come out of the gate on fire. He's not playing bad. He doesn't trust himself. You can tell he doesn't shoot the puck very often, which is not bad, but it's not good. I'd rather he shoot. What fried me a lot was defensively, he was a bit of a liability. He had a lot of trouble on duels, which, again, he's not that big. I think he's like maybe just 6 feet on the nose and weighs like 185 pounds. He's not big for an NHLer, so that'll come with age, but right now he's not super strong on the puck. But also I think his line mates have not been holding up their end of the bargain. Nikita Gusev, by the way, the other best player currently in the NHL that was outside the NHL last year, already has his first NHL goal. So Nikita Gusev's doing fine. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about Hughes, and I'm worried about some of our D-men because they were just...
It was rough. It was not pleasant.
I tried to be like, I mean, you've heard me talk about hockey. You've heard me talk about hockey a lot, where it's like, I try to be the positive guy, especially after losses, where it's like, there's something you can take from this. That Buffalo game, flush it, like just
get it out
flush
of
it,
just
like,
get it in the toilet.
It was not good. It was unacceptable. And also when we get the puck, we need to just funnel that fucking thing to the net, because that fried me. What fried me was watching 11 passes go around and then no shot happened. They get possessed. Also trying to pass through traffic. Looking on your left side, you're going up ice, and you see 3 Buffalo Sabres parked right there, and you're like, I can get it through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I played a lot of Snake as a kid. I got this. It's like, dude, no.
I played a lot of Snake.
Stop. All right, on to the sport that's currently has the most exciting stuff going on, possibly, depending on who you are. We have the MLB postseason is here. Mm-hmm. And this is probably going to be our longest talking point, I would imagine, because of everything that's happened. So I guess we can go...
I was wrong.
Yeah. Go back and watch last week's episode. Everything Sidney wanted out of the MLB postseason so far has roughly not happened. The Braves did come back and get a game, which they were probably going to do anyway. Trust me, did not expect to sweep. Dude,
I think I was quoted as saying... I think the Cards lose to the Cubs.
Yeah,
I think
you said
the Brewers
Cards would not
beat the Rockies. I think we have a game 163. The Brewers win that game to win the Central, and the Cards have to face the Nationals. And then I think I said there that the Nationals would then beat the Cards, even with that god-awful bullpen. And
none of that happened. The Cubs did not make the postseason, which they weren't going to anyway. It did not require game 163.
Right.
Moving on from that, the Cardinals won every game remaining in their series to lock the Brewers out of winning the NL Central. Mm-hmm. The Rockies, first of all, helped us on that. If we somehow go on to win the World Series, which we're not going to do, but if we go on to win the World Series...
yeah, we'd have confidence there, bud.
If we go on to win the World Series, the Rockies should have like an honorary mention on the bottom of the trophy, like for knocking the Brewers out.
For making the Brewers play the Nationals.
The Brewers play the Nationals. Here's my thing looking at these two series, which, first of all, breaking news as of right now is Anibal is going to start Game 3, not Max Scherzer.
Anibal Sanchez.
Who started the Nationals' first game against the Dodgers?
Patrick Corbin did. Patrick Corbin started Game 1.
Somebody was bad, I remember.
It was Patrick Corbin.
Corbin was not good. Because Strasburg came out and finished the game?
No. Strasburg came out and finished the last game.
Yeah, okay, cool. Never mind. We're good. We're caught up. All right, so the postseason picture right now is the Yankees are probably going to beat the Twins. That's going to be how that goes, I think. I just don't think the Twins can get any momentum back now.
I'm going to see. I've got the Twins in 5.
I just don't. Here's my thing, and especially at the end of the season, looking at what the Yankees were doing, I would have expected their bullpen was going to crumble. They were just not putting out a good bullpen, in my opinion. And their rotation, you could argue they're just trying to get guys experience, but I mean, like, even the guys that needed to be ready for the postseason didn't look ready for the postseason. It wasn't good. So I think the Yankees. Okay, how about this? I don't think the Yankees will sweep, but I think they're going to win that series. Houston is going to sweep the Rays. I think we can all agree on that. Houston has been completely unstoppable against the Rays right now.
Houston's just been unstoppable in general.
Rays are just like crushing them like waves against the beach.
Game 1, Corbin pitched six innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. Didn't have to do all that bad. He had 5 walks though. That's a killer. 9 strikeouts, and then Rainey came in, gave up 2 runs. Fernando Rodney came in, gave up a hit, walk, and a strikeout, and then Hunter Strickland came in for the bottom of the 8th and gave up 2 hits, 2 earned runs, and a strikeout. I think that home run was to Jock Peterson that I still don't think has landed yet. Yeah, it was to Peterson. That ball has still not landed.
All right, so current games as of today, the Braves are at St. Louis. Yep. Which we've been good at Busch Stadium this year, so that's a little bit of something in our corner. Also, Adam Wainwright is the starting pitcher today. I actually like that choice. I think he can hold the fort.
Even after his last showing, even after against the Cubs,
I don't look at it the same way. See, you and I have a disagreement about this, and you say 2 things and mean 2 different things, which fries me a little bit with you on baseball. But you agree that the postseason is different, and then all you do is cite regular season stats and appearances.
Well, no,
which I understand that it's the only numbers you can draw from. I understand that. But you weigh on them as if they are the only in the world, which is, first of all, going into SunTrust Park in Game 1, we had not performed there all year. Not performed well against the Braves. We put up 7 runs, 4 in the 9th inning, if I'm correct.
And you had the double by Ozuna, and then
Goldschmidt hit 1 home run and then a double, I believe. Goldschmidt was good. Goldschmidt paying off right now. Then we got 3-0'd, which is how it goes. That's baseball. I think we can win tonight, though. I do. I believe in us. I understand that I just said we can't win the World Series, but
with it being at Busch Stadium, I think you've got a good shot there.
Their starting pitcher is Soroka, I believe is his name.
Was that Mike Soroka?
Yeah.
I think so.
And then so that series is tied, and then the Washington-LA series is tied, which is kind of cool because
Mike Soroka's starting tonight.
And the starting pitchers for LA and Washington are Ryu for LA and Sanchez for Washington.
Young Ryu gets the start. Possible Cy Young winner, I would have to say.
Ryu's 14-5 with 2.32 ERA. So
he had a really, really good season, honestly.
I would pick the Dodgers tonight.
I would pick the Dodgers every night.
Unless he collapses.
This is coming from a Giants fan. I would pick the Dodgers every night.
See, but
it hurts to say.
That's the crazy. Here's the crazy thing, right? Here's the crazy thing about us winning that game at SunTrust Park. Going back to the Cardinals, because going back to the Cardinals, I really hope the mic picked that noise up. That noise was too good. I honestly think they dropped the ball more than we did. Because we lost game 2. It happens. 3-0. That was expected from everybody.
Bats just didn't show up to play.
We have Wainwright starting, who's a decent postseason pitcher in his history. He's won a World Series. It was a long time ago, but he won a World Series. Up against Soroka, who's, I believe, a younger pitcher. Can't remember entirely. Everybody's younger compared to Wainwright. I'll own that, but I mean, like
Soroka is currently. Oh yeah, he was drafted. He was the 28th pick in the 2015 draft. So yeah, he's only 22 years old.
This is a big stage for him. You're away from home.
In your first postseason start.
No.
Yes, I think so. I don't remember him. starting last year.
Let me put it this way. Because we won that game 1, a close game 1, 7-6.
Well, it shouldn't have been that close. The bullpen damn near let you down, and that was.
Yeah, closing were not good. That's why I was telling you before the postseason started. It was about early runs because we weren't going to hold up late in games, so we needed early for the batting order to get up. By the way, Carpenter's moved to 6th position in the batting order, and will play third base today, which makes sense. He's not been batting super well in the early pots, so it's probably better to move him to 6th. Because I think that moves Goldie up to pure cleanup, which is good. But because we won that early game and now we're at home, and we've been really good this year at home, which was not the case last year. We've been much better at home this year. If we win, we've put ourselves in a position to win the series at home when we have home field advantage for the next 2 games, which would be bananas. But it could happen. Like, that's what's weird.
If you win tonight, you could absolutely win tomorrow and not even have to worry about going back to Atlanta for Game 5, which would be
really helpful.
Yeah.
Because trust me, the last thing I want is to go back to Atlanta for Game 5.
You don't want to face you don't want to face the Tomahawk Chop in Game 5.
I want to walk into work tomorrow as a conquering champion that hasn't won the series yet. But
as a conquering champion.
But here's the thing that I think is kind of crazy about this whole thing is. Okay, so we need to have a talk about something that happened in Game 1. Not Game 2, but Game 1, because we only do an episode a week, so we need to make that clear. Game 1 happened.
I like the background on the phone, by the way. I like the background on the phone.
Oh, yeah, Hughes jersey there.
Jack Hughes, boys.
My phone wallpaper is the NL Central wallpaper the Cardinals made. Let me see if I can pull it up here really quick.
Nice.
Got to support, man. We're
nice.
In postseason. So
a whole lot for me to support other than Kentucky.
We had a disagreement, I believe, Thursday night. You and I did. Mac wasn't really involved, but you and I had a disagreement Thursday night over Discord. That was about Acuna Jr.
Yeah, Ronald
and him
Acuna
not
Jr.
running out that fly to right field.
Yeah.
I did not disagree that he's a good home run hitter. He hit 43. Don't get me wrong, dude. I think that's more than any of the Cardinals hit. Trust me, I get that. Here's what I'm saying. It was the 3rd or 4th time this year he was thrown out, or almost thrown out, or held to one base.
Held to a single.
Because he assumed it was gone. And it wasn't a high flight. This thing was not like in the lights. It was a fast one. But when it hit that wall and came to Dexter Fowler, the fact that Dexter Fowler had time to turn around, set himself up, and throw to second, and Acuna Jr. wasn't even in the shot at second base, shows you that. And even his manager even said, I would have benched him if we had already made all those substitutions. He said he was going to bench him because he's like, the kid has got to learn. You've got to run those out. Because like the difference with like, you know, a Bryce Harper who can fly on his wheels, you know what I mean, if he has to. But I've seen this a couple times now this year where guys hit a ball, they assume it's out, and that's fine if you think you got a good strike on it. But then after the game, when they get thrown out at first, or you know they don't make it past first base on an extra base hit or whatever, what should have been an extra base hit, this interview of just like, it's just baseball, you know, what am I going to do? Run! Because that's the thing, is like the whole team is mad. Freddie Freeman in his interview was like, that shit can't happen. And then Acuna Jr. gets interviewed and he says, you know, it's just baseball. Those things kind of happen. It's like, but they seem to only happen on this Braves team to you. Like, and if it comes from being young, he's a young player. Don't get me wrong. You're in the bigs now. You know what I mean? It's this. It's the show. But arguably, and this has been said a lot this week, arguably, he runs to second base. He's in scoring position. That next guy hits and puts him on third. He's 90 feet from home. They don't have to. It's a tie game going into extra innings, or they win like 8-7 or something. But no, he gets held at first base, then gets left stranded, which isn't his fault. Once he's on base, it's not his fault. But he could be at second or third. Nope, we're at first base because we couldn't be bothered to run. And I'm not claiming that my chubby little ass could run to first base at 90 feet and make it there without having to take a hit off an inhaler. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is what you see a consistency of at times with some of these slugger kids, or even experienced sluggers, because one of Bryce Harper's last famous incidences with the Nationals was with him and Papelbon, where he didn't run out a fly ball, which he got
Jonathan
caught.
Papelbon
He got caught out. And not to be fair to Bryce Harper, Papelbon was always kind of an ass. Don't get me wrong. But what fried me about it was I thought Papelbon had a point. You don't know if he's going to drop that ball or not. Run to first base. Just get us on base at least. But he's just walking up to first. He's literally like walking to the dugout.
No,
and then when Papelbon comes down the thing and says to him, you need to run that out, friggin' Harper spins around him and goes, well, what do you want me to do? Once the bat leaves your hands, you're supposed to run.
No, I get that. But and this is absolutely going to be me defending both Harper and Acuna in this case. First off, it's a 162-game season. If you run everything out, you are going to hurt yourself.
Oh, yeah, no, like, I'm not...
You are going to hurt yourself. Second off, these are the best players that will ever step foot into Major League Baseball. First and foremost. If you're not assuming them to make routine fly ball outs, you
But that's what I'm saying is...
You're doing yourself a disservice.
But errors happen.
No, I get that errors happen, but if I can't camp underneath a fly ball for 15 seconds to make a play, we're going to have a problem here. And if I'm in the majors, we're going to have a problem.
But that's the thing is like, so
I get what you're saying.
But you look at so let's take it back to the Acuna Jr. hit. When it hit that wall, or when it hit that corner and came to Dexter Fowler is almost as physically as far from second base as he could hope to be. He's deep in the corner at SunTrust Park, the right field corner, and has picked up the ball. Mm-hmm. Acuna Jr. has not made it to first base yet. Mm-hmm. That ball was a low, slow flight for one of his hits. Okay. Dexter Fowler had time to turn around and get it to second base, and Acuna Jr. was not even a third of the way to second base. It is a complete decision of, I don't run. It is a complete decision of, if it doesn't leave this park, it's not my problem. That is the mindset he's building in himself, which, understandably, he hit 43 home runs. Yeah. But he has made consistent errors on getting extra base hits when, as a slugger, that's part of your job as well. Especially when the other team sluggers, not just because they're the Cardinals, are getting those extra base hits and putting guys on second and third. And you can't get past first because you can't be bothered. That's where I think Braves fans ought to have a problem, and where you can see that Brian Snitker and Freddie Freeman both in their interviews showed they have an issue. This is a consistent issue with this player.
I don't think Braves fans should have a problem. He had 43 home runs and then he stole 38 bases on top of that.
But that's the regular season. He just cost them a game at home that they should have swept. They should have swept at home. We didn't win at SunTrust Park all year. They should have swept at home against the Cardinals. They had every opportunity to. He had the opportunity to get them an extra run. Didn't take it. They lose 7-6. Those are the kind of things that haunt you in a postseason run, is when you lose a game by one run when that one run could have made it to second base. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, and we can make the same argument for the bullpen, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying the bullpen didn't crap their pants. Don't get me wrong. Especially that bullpen to do that. We're late in a game where you've been closing good all year. Because the second game is a good example of that. The second half, the whole game, the Cards had nothing going. Second game. But what I'm saying is that you can't use the bullpen as an excuse for that player's action in that one play. No, because in retrospect, after the fact, it looks bad.
No, you can't use the bullpen for that excuse, but in the same sense, you can't use Acuna not running out a fly ball as the reason.
I'm not saying he's solely responsible for them losing that game. I'm not. But what I'm saying is again, you go back to in the scope of a postseason run, when you're sitting there and you're having to make plays every week, game in and game out, where we fought all year to make it to this place. They won the NL East. Almost said the AL East. The NL East.
Oh, they'd have probably won the... Well, no, they wouldn't. They were facing the Yankees. Yeah, never mind.
Whoops. The issue I took is, it's not a lack of acceptance, but the idea that he is infallible because he hit 43 home runs. That was where I was confused, where he made a mistake. I have no issue with players making mistakes. Trust me, I watched the Cards all year. We made a lot of mistakes. somehow found your way to an NL Central. We somehow managed to drunkenly stumble our way into an NL Central title. I get it. What blew my mind about the whole thing was, across the board, it was a case of it couldn't be a young player's fault, or it couldn't be Acuna Jr.'s fault that he didn't run that ball out. In that moment, in a base running situation where you are the only one who's going to be on base, there's not a stack up on the bases. There's not, a rundown situation occurring. And you could argue, again, Dexter Fowler's a good outfielder. He's got a good arm on him. You could argue if he gets too far away from first base, he's going to get sniped. That could happen too. But to see just the upright run of someone who is not trying for second base, like just his whole run, you could tell he was like, it's out. I'm just going to jog this one out. And I understand you could say he's conserving himself, whatever. When your entire team afterward is losing their mind in the dugout, I say losing their minds. When your entire team is agitated in the dugout because for the fourth time in a year, you couldn't make a second base hit, it shows a consistent theme of something that they know to be true, he knows to be true, and he said himself in interviews, just goes how it goes. Which means that you can expect that if he hits it to the wall and it doesn't go over, you could probably get him at second base. I think every outfielder in baseball can assume they can get Acuna Jr. second base or hold him to first because he's not going to go for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what you mean.
I like how the Cards are tied with the Braves right now, and I'm ranting more about a Braves player screwing up than any mistake the Cards have made. Which, I guess, again, I just go back to the fact of, everybody fan, I think, has their opinion of whether players should be held more accountable or managers should be held more accountable. I think it's a 50-50 shift. When a player makes a mistake, a player makes a mistake. When a manager's making mistakes, a manager's making mistakes. That's fair. Trust me. When Mike Matheny got fired, I was like, yeah, I don't know what you expected to happen because these last 2 years have not been great. But it's just, that whole play was just wild to me. Especially for a Braves team that probably should have won that game 6-0. Again, going back to the bullpen issues. So,
I was trying to pull it up, but for some reason, the cellular service here sucks.
Yeah, it's not great. I'm gonna go. I'll bring it up on YouTube.
All right.
Vamp.
No, you ain't even got to bring it up. You just got to look at. I just want to see the box score.
Okay, so if you type in Acuna Jr. on YouTube, the first thing that comes up is not hustling. So I don't want to be mean, but it's not a good sign when that's the first highlight search that people are coming up with.
Well, you know it's gonna be weighted because it just happened in Game 1. Everybody's making a big deal. Everybody's making a big deal about it. No, I'm honestly kind of in the same boat. It would be nice to see. It would be nice to see him, hustle just a tad bit more.
Well, that's the thing is like we go back to we were talking about stats last year. And we were talking about some guys who have stat lines like that, where it's like your slugging percentage is insane, your home runs are insane, but you've never got past first base without it going out. That's wild, because just 10 years ago in this league, extra base hits were moneymakers. You look at when the Red Sox won in 2013. When I watched that run, I mean that was a situation of everyone hit for the cycle. It almost seemed like everybody was hitting for the cycle.
Yeah,
where now it's like
Brock Holt
if I don't get 4 home runs in a game, then I really play. And I don't know if that's just the mentality the league is going to, because especially because home runs are up. I think it's more noticeable now.
Like I said last week, I think Joey Gallo is the sign of this is how baseball is going to be played for the next 15 to 30 years, or 15 to 20 years. And that
could be good and bad, because we were talking about that too. We were like. Because
the league likes strikeouts and the league likes home runs.
We could cut a lot of payrolls if we just take everybody out, except for what was it, the 4 true outcomes or whatever.
Yeah, we could save a lot of money if we only sign the pitcher.
You field 5 pitchers, you field maybe 2 catchers because sometimes they don't get along. Weird psychology shit. And then each team has a lineup of 10 batters, and we just don't. We bring all the walls in. You know what I mean? You're pitching for pop flies, right? You just start playing pop fly on home plate. The outfield ends at the end of the current infield. You just play pop fly all day. I mean, I think it's more exciting. I think we should work on that next week. But yeah, that's just like because
it's apparently wild to you that
it's not wild to me. Trust me, I've seen people do it. A lot of big sluggers are guilty of it. There's been days I thought Paul Goldschmidt hit something, and it's almost like what fries me too is when they hit it high and they're again. I go back to the fact you're right. These are the best fielders in the world. They're playing in this league for a reason, but errors do happen, and I would rather make it to second base. Having assumed an error. I'm not saying after it's caught or after the run is thrown.
This is the point I was trying to make. If you're going to assume, you know what happens when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. If you're going to assume that, I don't know, I'm trying to think of it right. Let's just use Dexter Fowler in this instance. If you're going to assume
he plays all fields.
Yeah, let's just assume that Dexter Fowler can't camp under a fly ball to right field for 5 seconds and make a play. If you're going to assume that he can't do that, then you're doing a disservice to yourself as a player in the major leagues. Because, watch the mic. I feel like anybody should be able to stand underneath a fly ball, hold their glove up, read the ball as it goes into the mitt, and squeeze it when it gets there. You are doing a disservice to yourself as a player in the.
These are the top 4 stories for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. But you are doing yourself a disservice if you are not assuming that the best players in the world in your sport can't make a routine fly ball, cannot catch a routine fly ball.
But I mean, I understand that. But Fowler didn't catch it on the fly. It hit the back wall and came to him.
I know. And
so in those, you could cover a lot of distance.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is we're weighing into a situation where what we're saying is that
I was referring more back to the Harper situation, which was a routine fly ball. It's caught. I wasn't referring to the Acuna Jr. situation because he wasn't hustling because he thought the ball was gone.
Yeah.
To be honest, he's hit 43 this year.
That's my argument.
Got a pretty good.
I understand that there's a sense of when you smack it right. But there is so much between when that ball leaves your bat and when it gets out that affects that. Dude in the third tier could have just puked it, set the wind off. You know what I mean? The ball gets some underspin on it. You get some undertow on the ball. But to have it happen 3 times that I can find this year, including a postseason game against a team you should sweep, and if we come back and win 2 at Busch and they get knocked out without having to go back to Atlanta, that will haunt them. that play right there. And the bullpen will be haunted, don't get me wrong. Because, again, I don't disagree with that. But by the time Acuna Jr.'s out happened, we had scored those runs. So it's out of the question that this is happening. Because we scored our 4 in the top of the inning. They scored theirs to bring it back within 1 in the bottom of the 9th inning. So Acuna Jr.'s options were there after this has occurred. The meltdown of the ending bullpen has occurred. You have an opportunity to get up as a batter, as one of the best batters in the NL, I would argue, with Freddie Freeman also in your lineup, another one of the most consistent batters in the NL, and say, we're gonna walk the cards off and we're gonna show them what a real championship team is. And to not get the second when your lineup included people after you who could get you home is just like, it's such. Again, I'm not criticizing him as a player of skill. He's an immensely talented young player. He has an amazing future ahead of him in this league with the Braves or wherever he ends up. But for your teammates to have to consistently be asked in post-game interviews what your problem is shows that this is not a new issue. One time it happening in the postseason is not a big deal. The fact that Brian Snitker has benched him twice in the current season shows a consistent theme of a mindset of I hit home runs or I hit nothing at all. You know what I mean? Side note, but I think the Cards will win tonight. What other series are there? We talked about them all. Side note how is Aaron Judge's postseason going? I haven't checked. Been pretty. The fact that I haven't heard anything about it tells me it might be pretty middle of the table.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I can look real quick if why am I not connected to the Wi-Fi? That makes no sense. Sorry, guys. I'm very unprofessional.
Rookie shit.
Yeah, I know.
Rookie shit.
Let's look and see here. Let's take it back to game 1. Yada yada yada. Shut up. I see you. All right, so
this is the baseball format's kind of fascinating to me. The wild card is a 1-game format, which I agree
Judge
with.
went 1 for 3. He had 2 walks, and he also scored 2 runs. Game 2, Mr. Aaron Judge.
Oh, he's a Mr. Aaron Judge now.
Well, he went 2 for 3, walked twice again. He likes to walk a lot. Also scored a run. So far, from what I can tell, the big bats in the Yankees lineup, Edwin Encarnacion, Libertorez, and DJ LeMahieu is what it's really looking like. Encarnacion, Stanton also had a sac fly to center. You had Libertorez, and so Edwin Encarnacion, Libertorez, DJ LeMahieu, and Brett Gardner.
Encarnacion makes sense. He's he's been a good postseason hitter his whole career.
Poor Ubaldo Jimenez. You feel so bad. Can I go off on a tangent here real quick?
Go for it.
That game, that series against the Orioles to me made no sense. You have Zach Britton, who at that time was quite possibly the hottest pitcher in baseball. You have him as your closer in a tie game situation. I think it was 2-2, and I think it was like the bottom of the 11th or the bottom of the 13th. Don't quote me on either one of those.
Like,
and you have
be able to pull that stat.
Yeah, no, and you have Edwin Encarnacion at the plate facing Ubaldo fucking Jimenez. Zach Britton is warming up in the bullpen. He's set, ready to go. I understand that I understand the lefty-righty matchup may not be there for you. I get that, but to take the game out of the hands of your best pitcher in Zach Britton to leave in Ubaldo Jimenez, to me, made no sense whatsoever. And it showed because Edwin Encarnacion hit a laser to left center. I think it landed in your backyard a couple days ago.
Probably.
From Toronto. Probably. This ball was murdered. And that's my rant. I don't understand that decision making by Buck Showalter. But I'm not the manager. I'm not a manager. He is. So.
I'll tell you one thing we can talk about because now the regular season's over and everything's kind of settled. I'm going to make a claim, even though it's my rivals and it's going to sound biased, but I think you'll agree. The biggest bust signing of the year has to be Craig Kimbrell for the Cubs. Because he might have been the worst closer they had in their lineup. Like, especially clutch games they had to have. Like, against us in that final series. You know what I mean? It was just like...
Yeah. Give me just a second.
Like, watching that whole thing, I read a thing on the score.
All right, Craig Kimbrell this year, negative .5 WAR, 0-4 with a 6.53 ERA. Pitched in 23 games, 13 saves, gave up 15 runs. He had not gave up 9 homers, 12 walks, 30 strikeouts.
It's the beard.
It's definitely the beard. God, he had a FIP of 8. He had a fielder independent pitching of 8. That is, for those of you that don't know, that is god awful. His WHIP was 1597.
I mean, you had to just watch the games to know it was terrible, though. Because we went the series where they could have kept us from winning the NL Central, and they could have brought themselves back into the postseason picture. He gave up back-to-back home runs to, like, decent batters on our roster. It wasn't like he back-to-back like Goldschmidt and Azuna. He back-to-back like 2 other people.
I saw this was like probably a month and a half, 2 months back. I saw something from one of my favorite content creators on YouTube, Urinating Tree. For our how many subscribers do we have? Like 4 or 5. For our 4 subscribers that we have, even if we have that many, make sure you go shout out Mr. Urinating Tree. He was he's hilarious. But he was talking about how the Cubs are doing everything they can to make a postseason push, and that signing Craig Kimbrell was one of them. And then he makes the comment of, "Oh, we signed Craig Kimbrell, $14.5 million for."
We have 2 subscribers
nice, cool,
right now.
And I know I'm one of those. So, narcissistic.
He has 304,000.
Yeah.
The hater's guide to the
he was talking about how you just signed Craig Kimbrell for $14 million. Josh Bell would like to have a word with you because Josh Bell destroyed Craig Kimbrell in the regular season. Oh my God,
he was so expensive. Like, that was the thing for me. He kept making all these contract holdouts, and I was like, I guess I get it. But here's my thing, and this is gonna be my rant against Craig Kimbrell right now. My favorite thing is players who are like, I really just want to play the game. I really want to finish the season strong, but holds out on like 9 teams, like 9 teams that had better shots than the Cubs did at that time. And he's like, I don't know, man. It's like, I know. I can figure this out. Like, I'm not a business major, but I think I can figure this out. Like, I figure out where the problem is, and I think it's you. Because when he was because he was drafted by the Braves, I remember he played in Atlanta for a little while. He was like the hottest thing since sliced bread in Atlanta. He was an amazing closer.
Played the first 5 years in Atlanta.
Went to Boston, I believe.
Played 1 year in San Diego. Poor San Diego. Went 3 years to Boston.
He won a World Series with them, I believe. I might be wrong.
2 years ago. Last year. Sorry, it was last year.
He wasn't with them last year?
He won a World Series with them last year.
That's right. Yeah, okay, good. I'm caught back up. I was sitting there for a second, I'm like, wait, he definitely did.
And nearly all relievers' ERAs, unless you're Aroldis Chapman, or in this instance, Kirby Yates, who was very shockingly to me, turned out to be one of the best relievers in baseball for the Padres. Everybody's ERAs are up this year because of the way the ball is flying out of the ballpark. You can look at Josh Hader as an example.
Flaherty for us is a good example. He's probably our best young pitcher, and his ERA is still, I think, like over 3 or 4. And it's not that he's giving up a lot of extra base hits or anything. He's just the home run numbers fuck everybody's numbers up. Because especially like you see some home runs get hit, and it's like the lowest center quadrant of the strike zone, and that thing flew for like 500 feet. I'm like, but how? Like, he had to, like, golf chip shot it up over the wall.
Gave his best Tiger Woods impersonation.
Have you ever seen... I think it was... I don't remember what game I was watching. I was watching some game. I don't know if it was at the bowling alley or where it is. It was a Yankees game. They were playing it was game 1 versus the Rays. What some of these dudes were swinging at, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not saying I could stand up against a pitcher, but I at least would know that it was in my feet. You know what I mean? Like, one guy it hit 4 feet in front of home plate. He still swung, tried to catch it on the bounce. I'm like, this isn't cricket, bro.
And
I wonder if they just get. I wonder if they just get so hyped. They're just like, we got to get on base.
Well, no, this is absolutely not going to be a dig at you. But have you ever played baseball before?
Yes.
How many years did you play?
3 years.
How old were you when you played?
Like 6.
Gotcha. All right.
And I'm not, again, no, that's what I'm saying is, like, I don't have a great understanding of high-speed pitches.
Like, it's very
the
easy.
Ball is diving and stuff.
It is very easy to make a call on when you can and can't swing on TV from somebody that's played quite a bit of baseball and faced.
And I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm saying is, okay, so let's go back to the fielding thing from the Acuna Jr. call.
Sure.
These are the best batters in the world.
Yeah.
They haven't swung on a low pitch all night. It hit the dirt in front of the bag, and he was like, And then he looked around like, whoa, I didn't get it. It's like,
If I remember, I think you have I think you have 400 milliseconds to decide if you need to swing or not when the ball leaves the pitcher's hand.
But again, that's what I'm saying though. Is like what it showed to me.
Chase Daniel to Allen Robinson 4-yard touchdown. The Bears are back in this game.
I'm not saying bad decisions because sometimes you catch those breaks on a weird pitch and you throw the pitcher completely off because he's like got him beat and then you're just like dick. But what fries me is not fries me, but I mean just like what's fascinating to me is where your team's in a position where they don't need to be desperate on swings, and you go out swinging on some bizarre ass swings like you've been brushed off the plate twice. Most people would assume, and I don't think I'm wrong in saying this, if he pitches you inside twice, he's moved you back a little bit. He's probably going to pitch on the other side now.
I would agree.
Or dive low, one or the other, because now you're at a worse angle. And they bite every time, and I'm like, it's like an understood tradition. If you're a close batter, I'm going to brush you twice, throw outside. Brushes him twice, guys like, next one's flush. And again, like especially breaking balls, I don't disagree with, but it's like when it's just a wild pitch and you still go for it, I'm just like, you just didn't want to be up here. You were like not feeling it. I just need to get out of the way. Let somebody else come over.
I need to work on my fielding statistics. Let's get out there and see what happens.
I'm gonna be I've got enough hitting highlights this year. I'm gonna make the end of the year's top 10s. But I got to make that one Golden Glove, like, Andrelton Simmons jumping spin throw Derek Jeter shit. I don't know why I pulled Andrelton Simmons out of my hat like that.
I know why. He's
good shortstop.
He's one of the best fielding shortstop I've ever seen.
Well, you know why his throw is so fast, right? He pitched and played shortstop in the minor leagues. He has a pitcher's arm and accuracy. Yeah. So he can throw it at like 85 miles an hour from the shortstop position.
Oh, he's humming it faster than 85. I'd make every guarantee. He's looking at like 93, 94.
I always love trades like that where the Braves were like, yeah, this isn't working. I'm like, you're right, just 5 Golden Gloves. Nobody hit it up that spot. But yeah, you're right. Good trade, y'all. Good trade. And I'm not saying they haven't gotten a good replacement, but it took a couple more years, and I was like, Andrelton Simmons was in the prime of his career. Him and Freddie Freeman are people you should build around. Now, obviously, they picked Freddie Freeman. I think we can all accept that as far as fielding and batting goes. But
if I had to choose right now, I'd build, from just that roster in particular, I would build my team around Freddie Freeman,
Acuna Jr.,
Ronald Acuna Jr., and
you trying to pick a pitching staff member?
Yeah, I'm trying. I would say
Freddie Freeman's.
I don't want to say Dallas Keuchel because he's just hasn't been there.
Freddie Freeman is your vet leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's been here the longest as a franchise. He's a good player, and he's calm. He's not a fiery guy. He can be, but in most games you can tell he's a calming factor in the dugout.
Christian McCaffrey, 84-yard touchdown, fantasy.
I need to check mine.
Let's get it.
That 84 yards is wild.
All right, so what's our topic of discussion for today? Now that we've covered basically everything in particular,
we've been talking for 54 minutes, so
yeah,
we're probably going to end on this. We're going to end with the baseball talk. We'll make an episode for that later. We have a topic we want to discuss that's going to be highly touted, and I also didn't do my homework, so I'm asking the teacher to give us an extension. But it's just going to be what it is for right now. Side note, we're up 103-67 on our fantasy team.
Nice. He said that I'm doing it. He calls me out for rookie shit. He doesn't even have his notes prepared.
Okay. I'm not going to flame you in front of the podcast. But
go right ahead. I want to hear it. This is good views. This is good television.
You don't record, edit, and publish the podcast, so and also furnish the props and everything, so
I plead the fifth.
I feel like we can end on that because he's just on fire now. He's gone. Oh, by the way, we're up 103-67.
Yeah.
Minshew's got 15 points, Thielen 24, Thomas 27. Kamara's not had a great game, but that's okay.
Sorry, your rest of your team should be able to make up for it.
Lutz has got 6 points so far, and Philadelphia, who was slated for 22 points in defense, is up to 23.
Nice,
and still playing.
So I guess full predictions for the MLB since that's what we're ending on.
All right, so full predictions for the MLB current series, like we said: Twins, Yankees, Rays, Astros, Dodgers, Nationals, and Cards, Braves.
All right, so well, I think.
Let's start NL because we're both more experienced in the NL anyway.
Okay,
it's where we live.
So. All right, I think this is gonna sound. I'm Braves in 4.
Braves in 4. I don't.
I know you don't, and you have to.
I have to do what I have to do.
I know.
I'm going to say Cards in 4. I think we sweep the next 2 games at home.
Just because it's at home?
Just because we've just been good at Busch Stadium, and we've
Adam Thielen, 6 catches, 121 yards, and a touchdown.
We've been weirdly clutch at home. We've walked off a lot at home. I'm not saying it's going to be a walk-off tonight. I don't. I honestly think these games have honestly been whoever has the best one inning. Because I think their 3 runs in the last game were all in 1 inning, too. So you know what I mean? It's like, if the 9th inning in game 1 was that 7 runs scored by both teams. Like, it's pretty wild.
All right, so
I say Cards in 4. You say Braves in 4.
You really? Wow. I'm kind of surprised actually. That's
because how much of a realist I am with my own teams.
Because what?
Because how much of a realist I am with my own teams.
No, an optimist with your teams, not realist.
I just said the Cards in 4. I said we're going to sweep tonight. Sweep the next 2 games at home.
Yeah, I don't think that's very realistic. You, if I'm not mistaken, you went 1 and 2, and I know we're going back to regular season stats, but you.
Yeah, but we didn't get 7 runs on them in any game last time. What we did this time. If their closers have that bad of a game again, which they did in last game.
Oh no, you scored. I think the one game you beat them at home, you scored y'all won 13-4 or something.
I'm talking about postseason stats.
Oh.
I'm talking about the postseason.
Oh.
Okay, so we're literally split 50-50.
Yeah.
We both say 4 games, but we disagree on the winner.
Yeah. So now we go to the
Nats and Dodgers.
Dodgers in 4. Dodgers in 4.
I almost want to pick the Nats.
But
They've just been oddly clutch.
What? With that bullpen, Jeff.
But they bailed themselves out before.
With that bullpen, there is no bullpen right now. It's Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg.
You're saying Dodgers in 4, right? I'll say Nats in 5.
That's fair. That's fair because
if the Nats are going to win, it'll take all 5 games. That's my opinion.
Yeah, because
it's going to be walk-offs. I think
they're going to they're going to have to win one either today or the next game at home. But if they don't win today, if they do not win today at home, is that game today? I thought that game is today.
Yeah,
right?
National League.
If they do not win today, then Dodgers win game 4 and
I agree.
To the next
these 2 series are definitely momentum series, especially in the 2.
Oh yeah, game 3 absolutely. Game 3 is the
in the 2-2 series too, especially this format where it's 2 at one person's home, 2 at the next.
Yeah.
Whoever wins first at home, I think, has a huge advantage because you've proven this is my house.
Right.
I think that's kind of what crushed the Braves a little bit that first game was to go down in that fashion in the 9th inning was something. Let's be honest, they didn't face all year really.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I fully think the Braves are only trying to get out of Busch Stadium with 1 win. Like I don't. Yes, they're going to try to push to win both games at Busch Stadium, but if they only get 1 win, they're like, okay, we have Game 5 at SunTrust Park sold out. We're not worried about too much.
Their goal is to get back to SunTrust.
Well, I mean, if they lose tonight,
the goal is to just.
But if they win, tonight,
I mean, that's a have-to thing.
Yeah,
so.
if they win tonight, they are absolutely looking to win Game 4 at Busch Stadium.
Okay,
but I don't think they'll be too defeated by it if they don't, because they're going to SunTrust for Game 5.
All right, so now we have. Let's start at the top of the AL. My bad. We have the Twins and the Yankees. I think the Yankees win. I think the Yankees.
Yankees in 4. Yankees in
3.
Yankees in 3.
I think they win the next game. They're up 2-0.
Got Twins in 5. I've got Twins in 5.
We'll call that. That's the. So
I called Twins in 5 ever since the first postseason rosters came out. So or first postseason brackets.
Well, you can be
out,
Jack and you think that the Twins are going to win the World Series.
Jack said the Nationals were going to win the World Series.
Earlier this year, he said it was the Twins' year.
Yeah, I know.
That's
hilarious.
He spent a year trying to preach Mac and I on that, and we were like...
I told him last year that this year the Twins would win the Central, they would win the AL Central, and I also told him that I thought that the A's would make a push for the World Series. Obviously, the push for the World Series didn't happen, but at least they made the playoffs. The Twins won the Central.
The A's are definitely a recovering team, I think. I think if you want to take an AL and NL comparison, we're definitely in the process of what I think is the second half of a rebuild. After the late 2000s and the early 2010s when we were really, we were an NL dominant team. I think you look at from, I would say, 2014 forward to now, we were kind of rebuilding a little bit, kind of finding our new identity. We fire Mike Matheny, we get a lot of good picks. The A's, I think, are earlier in that process, but they're doing it the right way. They're definitely showing prowess to be a late postseason team again, even though it's been a while.
And we're...
I said the Yankees in 3. You said the Twins in 5.
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about the Astros and Rays
because that series is going to be over before we get a chance to talk about it. So yeah, the only thing we agree on is Houston in 3. Because the Rays have shown no life once getting through the wild card.
Yeah, it's
The Astros bullpen is terrifying for whoever faces them.
Yes, the Astros are terrifying.
So who do you? Okay, so let's predict.
Dodgers and Astros.
You
Again.
Dodgers and Astros. Man, I guess I have to go with what I picked. Huh? I could see Yankees, Nats. And again, I get that bullpen, but you know what? If it's the Yankees and the Nats, I think the Yankees win just because they're going to hit them out of the park the whole freaking game.
I hate to say it. I say I hate to say it, but being a Giants fan,
The Dodgers are an excellent team. I mean,
being a Giants fan, you want to see, at least in my opinion, with being fans, you want to see a team coming out of your
you want to say you
division.
had to play the best all year.
Yes,
That's
You want to see your team winning it all, so you can say, hey, they beat us, but they beat us because they're the best, and that's the reason.
It would suck if like I said, I think I said the Nats in 5 if that happens, because then you're like, we didn't even get smoked by the best team.
Right.
But again, that's a weird comparison because it goes back to like the argument we have about preseason and postseason stats, and we're gonna end it right after this because we're coming up on time here.
It's like with the NFL. Anytime the Patriots make it to the Patriots make it to the
postseason,
to the playoffs, I'm always rooting for the Patriots.
Because it's the same thing. They don't. It's just different. I don't know why it is different. But you look at the Cards. We were kind of anemic in the ending runs there. We had good games, but we were kind of anemic. We weren't consistent. That first game against Atlanta, we showed we're not a washout. I guess it's not a fluke. We ended up at top of the NL Central. We actually did play better than those 2 other teams. Sorry, Milwaukee. I'm not sorry to the Cubs.
I would absolutely say it was a fluke.
The Cubs shot themselves in the foot themselves. That helped us a lot.
That's why I say it was a fluke.
But the Brewers did too. The Brewers did not play like they needed the seeding, and then they lost to the Nationals. But yeah, I think we'll end it there. Good talk. We haven't talked about the MLB the most, but obviously it's postseason. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe down below. Make sure to check in on the last episode where we went for an hour and 24 minutes. We're looking to not do that as much anymore because
we'll make sure that doesn't become a.
My computer tried to make French toast. That's how long it was having that video. But yeah, we'll be making sure to keep making content for you guys, and hopefully have some new series starting up. We're gonna brainstorm some of that in the coming weeks.
For sure, including our bowling stuff.
Including our bowling stuff.
We'll absolutely try to implement that in for you guys for you to see our killer bodies out in the lanes.
The only actual sport we play. It's the only athletic thing I can do.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Hope you guys have a good week.
That's a wrap.